Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be another story time, and this is going to be about the time I got caught in a riot. But before I get into the story time, one, please excuse my hair. I think it's uneven. I'm having a bad hair day. That's all I want to say. And yeah, I think that's it. Okay, we're going to jump right into the story. Okay, so this story time takes place my first semester, sophomore year. And me and a few of my friends were getting ready to go to the union party in the student union. So if I still have pictures from like that night, I will insert them like somewhere in here. But yeah, so we went to the union party. It was me and my best friend Journey, and then at the time my best friend Kendall, and a bunch of his fraternity brothers and everything. So we were all at the party. We were having fun. Next thing you know, they play I think it was Chief Keef Finito, and it all went downhill from there. I'm not even sure how all of this stuff started. I don't think anyone is really sure how everything started. I feel like everyone is really just confused. But basically, a fight breaks out. Okay, you know, people fight from time to time, so it's not really that big of a deal. And there was like security guards or whatever in there. So they were going to try to break up the fight. So me and my friends kind of took a step back so, you know, you don't get hit. Next thing you know, when I tell you everybody started fighting, it was like literally fights were like breaking out like everywhere. And we were like, what the fuck is going on? Like everybody is fighting. So we're like trying to find somewhere to go so that, you know, we wouldn't get caught in the middle of it. Because when I say everybody was fighting, I mean everybody was fighting. So Kendall pulls me back. Kendall was like, okay. And I go to pull Journey, and this motherfucker runs into the crowd of people that's fighting, because her guy best friend was in that crowd. So I guess she ran to go get him. So I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So I'm like, okay, I'm about to go run and get her. Kendall was like, yeah, no. And he pulls me back. So I'm like, what the hell? So we're all kind of standing in like a little corner, and we're just trying to let everybody fight it out. Now, mind you, I said there were security guards, but there were not enough security guards to deal with this. Like, it was just so many people, and no one knew where to go. Like, they were by the exits, and they were just like everywhere. So you really didn't have like anywhere to go. So we're like, okay, so we're gonna have to wait till, you know, everything dies down, because we can't, you know, get towards the exit. So eventually everyone who was fighting kind of starts like running out of the room. There we go. Everyone starts running out of the room. So we're like, okay, you know, we're gonna let them go out, and then we're gonna go. So we start to exit, but apparently all of them hadn't ran out, because as we're like leaving, it was like a big rush of dudes like just came pushing past and everything. Like they were trying to, I don't know if they were trying to get out to get to the other guys. I don't know if they were trying to get away from like the security guards and the cops and everything, but they were like running past, and they were like pushing people, and then that started like a whole other fight while people were trying to go down the stairs, and it was just, oh my god. So we get outside, and there were so many police officers outside, guys. Like, there was literally 12 cop cars. Like, there were so many cops outside. There was so many, like, because we have like on-campus police, and then we have like the state police, and then we have like the city police. So when I tell you all of them were there, and there were so many of them, so, you know, everyone gets outside, and they're trying to make sure like nothing happens. They're like, you know, telling people to move, and, you know, trying to like clear everybody out. So now, mind you, the party was supposed to be like 3-4 hours, and it only lasted for like an hour. So it didn't even last that long. So we get outside, and we're kind of like looking around, trying to like, you know, take in our surroundings and everything. And, you know, nobody was fighting at this point. A lot of people had like left. So we're like, okay. So Kendall left me and Journey in what he thought was a safe spot, because he wanted to go get the car, and we had on heels, and there was like this big like incline, and he didn't want us to go down the incline and hill. So we were just kind of like standing there. There wasn't really anyone there, but we could still kind of see like what's going on around us. So we're standing there, and you know, next thing you know, you can kind of feel like when something's about to pop off. So stuff started to get a little rowdy. So we're just like, okay, like we're just watching everything. Like no one started to fight yet, but the cops are still like standing there. And this is when all hell broke loose. So it started with, there was a certain area. I don't know why they weren't letting people go that way, but I guess this guy was trying to go that way because I guess his cousin had ran that way, and he was trying to catch up with his cousin. So the cop was like, you know, no, you can't go that way, you can't go that way. And he was like, you know, my cousin went that way. I just want to see if my cousin's okay. Can someone see if my cousin's okay? And he just kept saying, like, my cousin, I want to get to my cousin, I want to get to my cousin. And the cop was just saying, like, you know, no, no one can go that way, no one can go that way. And I'm still not, I don't know why, you know, they weren't letting people go that way. But, you know, the guy was just like, you know, my cousin, I'm trying to get to my cousin. So now he's like, he didn't like step to the officer, you know, like he was about to make a move towards the officer. He stepped to go around the officer. And when I tell you, him and the officer were like this close, because he was like trying to get around him, and the cop literally pepper sprayed him in his face, and he just dropped, you guys. And I think the video is like still on YouTube, and if I find it, I will link it down in the description box. There we go, so you guys can kind of see like part of what I was saying. But when we seen that, we were like he literally just dropped, like, because if I've never been pepper sprayed, but if you've been like in an area where, you know, pepper spray has been sprayed and it travels, and you know, you kind of like, and it hits you, you're like choking and everything. But imagine being like 5 feet away from someone, not even if that, and they just pepper spray you in the face. Like literally he dropped, you guys. And if you could see how this man dropped, we were like, did this really just happen? Next thing you know, like over here to like the right of us, 2 huge ass fights break out. I was like, oh, okay. So at this point, the cops are fed up, and they're just like, you know what, we're not even about to try to like break this up. So what they were going to do, like they were going to like pepper spray like the groups of people. That's a good way to break people up. So I'm witnessing this, and I was like, okay, we need to move, because if they pepper spray this group of people, it's going to start to travel, and you know, we're going to get like hit by it. So I'm like walking, I'm like, okay Journey, come on, let's go. So I like pull her arm. She didn't move. Now at this point, I knew what was going on, because I've been friends with her long enough to know the signs of when she's starting to have a panic attack. And seriously, anyways, so yeah, like I know the signs of when Journey is about to have a panic attack. And you guys, she was starting to have a panic attack. Like she was just there, she was frozen, she wasn't moving. But yeah, she was just like standing there, like she was frozen, she was not moving at all. And I was like, oh my god, she's having a panic attack. And in my head, I was like, oh my god, Journey, not right now, please, not right now, like we have to go. And I was just praying that they let this fight go on long enough for me to like calm her down a little bit and get her like out of like that area. And because it was like the fight was starting to get bigger and bigger, like I don't even know like why these people were fighting. I don't know what was going on, but this fight was starting to get bigger and bigger. And I was like, oh my god, like please hold off on pepper spraying these people until we like leave. Like you can pepper spray them when we leave, I don't care, just let us like, you know, get that way. So I'm like, okay, now I need to calm her down, because she's like mid panic attack. Like at this point, I can't do, you know, when she's at this point in her panic attack, it's like you can't really do anything but, you know, have her calm herself down. So at this time, we were like in love with Lime Crime Velveteens, and they were always coming out with colors. And I'm following them on Instagram. So what I did was I just pulled up Instagram, and I just started scrolling through their feed, and I was just kind of showing her like, you know, the new Velveteens that they were coming out with. And she was kind of sitting on the sidewalk. And so she was kind of like, you know, her breathing started to get a little better. She started to calm herself down a little bit. I think partly it was because she realized we need to get the fuck up out of there. And then I also think the other part was her, you know, like looking at the Velveteen. I don't know. It was like really, I don't know. It sounds stupid, but it worked. And she calmed herself down enough to the point where we can scoot on out of there. And thankfully, when we moseyed our way on down the street, they started pepper spraying, which was fine. Whatever, y'all. That ain't my problem. So then, you know, they come and we get in the car, and it took them so long to get the car because there were so many police officers, and there were so many like streets that were blocked off, and then there were so many people, and it was just like a lot of commotion. So it took them a whole lot longer to get the car than if none of this would have happened. So we get in the car, and she starts to have another panic attack, which I'm like, okay, now you can, okay, like this is okay, like I can, you know, I'm better equipped to deal with this now because we're not about to get pepper sprayed. So, you know, calm her down again or whatever. So yeah, it was really bad. We were on the news, like our school was on the news. Like not even like the local news, like literally like back where my parents say we were on the news. And I remember the next morning I woke up and my parents were like blowing up my phone trying to figure out like what was going on, where I was at, because usually before I go out I'll call my dad and I'll tell him like, hey, I'm going here, you know, the night before, just so he knows where I'm at in case something happens. He knows where I was, so he knew I was there. So I was gonna tell them what happened eventually, but obviously the news had beat me to it. So my parents, I woke up, my parents was blowing up my phone, my brothers, my grandma, my uncle, like everybody was blowing up my phone trying to see like what happened. Was I hurt? Like they were just trying to figure it all out because, you know, I hadn't said anything to them. Like I hadn't called or anything. And if you know me, then you know that my phone is always on Do Not Disturb. So they're calling me and it's going like straight to voicemail, and they're texting me, I'm not responding, and because I'm asleep. And I think I slept till like 2 o'clock in the afternoon for some reason. And so obviously they're like freaking out because I'm not responding. So when I woke up, I'm like, did somebody die? You know, because everyone's blowing up my phone, because at that point I hadn't realized that it was on the news, that they had already seen it. And so I called them back and they're like, oh, we seen on the news what happened at your school, and you know, blah, blah, we just trying to make sure you're okay. And I was like, what? You seen it on the news? Like, you guys are like 4 hours away. How did you see it on the news? And they were like, yes, on the news. Like, I was like, this was so crazy that it made it to the news. Like, it was, like I said, if I find the video, I'll link it down below. I don't even think it was like a long video. I only think it was like a few minutes, so you didn't really see like everything that was going on. But it was crazy, you guys. Like, there were so many fights, so many people got pepper sprayed, a few people got arrested. And I know it was like 2 or 3 people that were supposed to graduate that December, and they didn't even let them graduate because they were caught up in the middle of all this. So yeah, it was like crazy. It was just so many people fighting, it was just so much going on, and you were just trying to like keep up, honestly. Like, you were just trying to wrap your head around like everything. You were trying to figure out what's the safest place to go, or you're trying to figure out, okay, so what can I do so I don't get caught in the middle of this fight, so I don't get pepper sprayed, so you just didn't want to be anywhere near it, but it was all around you and you really had nowhere to go. And it was so like, oh my god, like after that we could not have like any functions in the student union up until last semester. So like literally a whole 2 years because of that happened. And I don't know, y'all, like it was just crazy. Like, you really just had to be there and to like witness it, and just the feeling you got, like you were just so confused. Like, you had no idea what was going on. You didn't know what to do, and when you did something you thought was a good idea, it wasn't a good idea. Like, there was no good ideas that night. Like, there was nothing that you could do. Like, you literally had to make like split decisions like that. like, you know, whether to run or to go to like a different location, or it didn't really matter what it was. Like, you literally kept having to make like split-second decisions because everything was happening so fast. And it was scary because you didn't know, like, you didn't really know these people. You didn't know if anyone like had a gun. You didn't know, you know, you didn't know anything. And at that point in time, I wasn't 21 and I didn't have my FOI card, so I didn't have anything to really like protect myself. So, you know, I was just kind of stuck. So if something was to happen where I had to protect myself, I couldn't. Whereas now I feel a little bit, I don't feel a little bit better, but I don't feel as scared as I used to because now I have measures and the means to protect myself now. So yeah, it was really scary, and I'm sure it was really scary for my parents and everyone else's parents who turned on their morning news and they seen like our school had a riot. And I don't think any of us thought that it would make it, you know, to our hometowns. Like, none of us thought that would happen because, I mean, it's such a small like town here, and we're thinking like, you know, obviously it's going to be on the local news because, you know, we're in the town. But for it to travel like 4 hours away, it was so crazy, and none of us expected it. So everyone's parents are like trying to figure out what happened, and, you know, we could only tell them like our story because we don't know what happened. Honestly, like, we don't know how this started. To this day, it has been 2 years. To this day, I still don't know how this all started. You know, like, I don't know. It's like different stories. Like, some say that it started with like 2 girls fighting, and then everyone was trying to rush and see like the fight, and they were bumping into each other, and that started the other fights because they, you know, they were drunk. Some people said that it was like a bunch of guys who already had beef with each other, and they were just beefing, and they were drunk, and they seen each other, and that started the fight. Then I guess everybody else just started fighting. So I don't really know what happened. There's like so many other stories out there, but yeah, that was, I don't never want to like go through something like that again because it was just so scary because you didn't know what was going on. You didn't know what was going to happen. You didn't know how to react. So yeah, it was so so fucking crazy. So I hope you guys enjoyed this story time video. If you did, give this video a thumbs up, and please make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit the bell so you'll be notified when I upload, and I'll see you guys in my next video.